And you had record on the Adobe Connect?
It's interesting. This is what was just popping up. Oh. Cool.
Okay. Great.
Okay, great. So, let's just jump right back into what we were doing yesterday. Just a quick recap. I really feel like the setup that we're going to do, something for like Biogen, something like the Hyundai, we can do a very basic setup that at least gets you going, and you could at least do some drawing and placing of fixtures in about half an hour, maybe an hour. Yesterday was a little cumbersome simply just because of model size. I'll grab my agenda here so I have it. But let's all start a new project based upon the template. R pull down, new, a new project, browse for the right template. Okay, let's link in files from the Insert tab. We're going to, my apologies, you have to first go to a floor plan. That initial splash screen is what's called a legend. You can't bring any architectural data into that. Level 1 architecture, link Revit. Let's do the Biogen building. Just because I was using that one last night, I know it's working properly. And let's go to Biogen links folder, and we'll just do the architecture CS. Okay, this file has light fixtures already in it. This was interesting. Were they fixtures that you all had placed?
I have to look on this.
Okay. It's in the they're native to the architectural model.
Not on this one because it's probably support spaces that we use.
Okay. Got it. Right, I think it looked like on the ground floor they had all the corridors done. There was a lot of work. But it was funny. It was a text tag. It wasn't a live tag. I thought it was interesting.
Another thing that we need that I know that Robin and I are curious about is how ceiling heights are tagged when it crosses multiple floors, and so that it just doesn't say it's a double height space that doesn't say it's 9 feet.
Yes.
Because it's really not.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
That's a lie.
That's clearly a lie.
Okay, well, already if you're opening up your architectural floor plan, it's behaving a bit better. This is a greatly tribute to, I think, some of our issues yesterday was the shared coordinate system. It wasn't coming in a good place, and therefore it's hard for the computer to read where it was cutting. Immediately, if we go to a ceiling plan, the default one that we have made up, we should see a series of ceilings that are already in place. In this case, the architect has light fixtures, and maybe that's correct, Brendan. Is that just the
this is the engineers.
Okay.
Stuff. This isn't stuff we did.
So it was like back of house and support that was done. Perfect. We're going to use this. Will be a good one for us to use. From here, we're seeing a lot of reference planes. We're seeing a lot of things that kind of muddy up the view. Variety of things that we could do. We could either turn off reference planes in this views, start to figure out after reading the architectural file what needs to be taken out of it and cleaned up if it's hard to see. In this case, I don't think it's too bad. So remember one of the first things that we did, we actually pinned the model down. That was something I skipped over yesterday, and something that we need to do whenever we bring in a project like this. Select it. As soon as you select it, pin ability. Up here, we click pin. Just locks it into place. We can't move it. Right? Okay, let's say, I like this, you were mentioning spot coordinates. But often you get a plan, and you're sitting there, as we were yesterday with the courthouse, trying to figure out what level is, you know, you're opening the project for the first time, what is where? You know, where are the ceilings? What heights are they at? So you can zoom into really any region. Let's zoom into this area that the engineer has already worked on. And go to your Annotate tab. And there are spot elevations. Okay? There are spot elevations. Click spot elevation. This is where you're going to determine whether or not it's coming from base level, so this whole issue of an atrium. You can change the relative base. And mine's grayed out here. Because I don't have enough levels in the project yet. That's probably the culprit. But that's what you'll want to change. You'll say, okay, yeah, if I know I have an 18-foot tall space is spanning several levels in the model, this is where you change that.
But you have to know that in order.
You have to know that. Yeah, and I guess this is the thing. You can go around with these spot elevations and do a bit of digging. So in this case, I'm going to drop a few. And what I normally do is, before I start drawing them, I take off leader and shoulder automatically goes off. All it's saying is it's just going to add a leader. Certainly doesn't hurt to drop a few of these around. And it's a double-click process. Here we're seeing it. And then, of course, what we want to do is, it doesn't really matter which one you do first, but let's also see how the architect is seeing it in their RCP. Anyone remember that step? Yeah, it's, you want to see this RCP how the architect is probably seeing it, right? So you don't have to worry about setting up your cut planes or anything like that.
Go to the Revit links.
Yep.
Display setting.
VG. Yep. Exactly. And change it from by host view to by linked view. And at that same time, this drop-down menu, you have to select a reference plan that you want to use as your reference point. In this case, let's go down and see if we can see a reflected ceiling plan, level 1. This is the kind of thing we were looking for yesterday in the courthouse. Just something so clear as level 1 RCP. Here it is. They have several types. They have one for SD. Leave the level 1. We'll do it, or the SD also is a good one. Actually, let's do the reflected ceiling plan level 1 SD. Okay. So a lot more fixtures in there. That's probably due to a series of work sets that are open, or that they're being controlled by.
Some of this stuff is stuff that we've done, actually, they've incorporated into there.
Oh, okay.
There's stuff over here that we've done, but the rest of the stuff is into here.
Great. So they actually had incorporated your work, and that's actually one thing we'll want to talk about is workflow. As so many different methods of workflow right now, how they're incorporating it, copying and pasting, or copy monitoring. That's one thing you can copy monitor if an architect has already started a lighting plan. You can either, there's two things you'll have to do. You'll have to ask them to strip out their light fixtures, like in this case. Let's say they had already started some lighting. They would have to either strip them out, or you could copy monitor those light fixtures, just like we're doing with levels, right? And at that point, kind of take them over. to a degree. I'll show you how to do that here in just a moment. Let's jump back to the next step, creating, copy monitoring the levels, because we need to set up plan views for each and every level, right? Okay. Okay, so to set up and copy monitor those levels, right, we need a plan cut at every level, just as the architect has. How do we do that? Got it. Yep. Cut a section, go to your View tab. You can cut a section and/or elevation. I like to do the section because it is pointable. Right click on that section, go to View. There we are. Already the model is substantially lighter, I think, too. It's a little bit better file to use. We're going to go to our Collaborate tab, Copy Monitor, select Link. Select the architectural file. Okay. And we're going to hit copy. We aren't going to do batch copy. We'll hit copy. And let's select each level. When we're done, don't forget to hit finish. Like Robin yesterday, I've stayed in Copy Monitor for a lot of time before, and then I've gone and done other tasks, and it's definitely funny. Okay, so now that we have those levels set up, right, we can go ahead and make all of our plan views. How do we make plan views of all of those levels? We go to our View tab, Plan Views fly down, Reflected Ceiling Plan, and I'm just going to grab levels 1 through 6 for the time being. Remember, you can always come back here and make more plan views. You're not limited to what you just created right there. If you want to make 100 copies of level 1, you could. And you do it through that method. There's a checkbox for do not duplicate existing views. You would just uncheck that. Okay, so we've created all of those floor plans. And remember, our browser's being sorted by usage. Remember, design, documentation, or export, or however you end up setting that up. We need to go tell those views what they are. See all the question marks that are up at the top of the project browser? Simply because they don't know what kind of view they're supposed to be. They know that they're ceiling plans, but they don't know exactly the type, or rather the view usage. So here we go in Properties, View Usage. We're going to make these all for just design for the time being. Apply. I'm going to delete my original furniture. Okay.
I can't even, I probably should put like, I'm trying to figure this out. I can't, it's not letting me select the place for copy melody.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I did this, I select the link, but it's not letting me recommend.
so you can select them all or just click right there. Let's see if that, oh yeah, and then you get into it. Yeah, or hit copy rather than monitor. Yeah, it's not immediately apparent when you're selecting. I've had these same problem before.
Can I also, I can't delete the original, do you have to have all views of it closed in order to delete a plan?
No, it can even be open.
Well, okay.
But you just can't have, you have to have minimally one view open for a project to be open. You can't go down to 0 views. But yes, that's correct. You can do, you can delete it while it's even open. And that's exactly what I did is I took the default view for level 1 and made it go away. So the reason we're seeing significantly more light fixtures when we change over to the architect's other plan is that they have work sets in place. And we're going to touch on that today and see how that works. But work sets in some ways are like layers. They can be used like layers. And you can use them for phasing and for different aspects of the project. I'm sure that they have the back of house light fixtures on one work set and the others front of house and high finished spaces on another. And that's why we're seeing that. You can control visibility of the model that way. Okay, so this level 1 ceiling plan, because it is a new view, I need to go back through that process of Revit links, going by host view, and doing a by linked view. Reflected ceiling plan. We do that level 1 SD. Let's just zoom into, I did a ZR for zoom region. And this is nice. We're seeing ceiling heights, we're seeing their annotation, all of those things. And if this was a floor plan that did not have, or a ceiling plan that did not have lights in it already, we'd be ready to do our work, right? Let's test and make sure that we are indeed ready to do our work. That's the first thing, is that we're going to want to.
Is there a reason why we're not seeing the ceiling?
It's very interesting. Let's just go take a look. If you're not seeing the ceilings and the light fixtures are there, it's definitely a VG thing. So unfortunately, you have to drill in and go dig deep into that linked file. So we go into VG, linked model display. It's by linked view, but you can make it custom. This is an added layer of control. It bases it on that reflected ceiling plan, right? But let's go into our model categories of that reflected ceiling plan. Rather than being by linked view, we're going to make that custom. Let's go down to ceilings. We may have to check show all categories from disciplines. Ceilings should be on.
Then what does it mean when you're not allowed to half tone it or make it transparent or detail level?
Yeah, it's strange. That means it's if there's a block in there and not having that control, halftone's not available?
No.
No. Wow.
So I wonder if that's an indication of it.
Well, in the master category it is, right? Just not.
In the master category, right?
Right.
There's a checkbox for it, correct? Okay. Some model categories just don't have the same amount of control. And I don't think it's just in the linked. It's a good question. To follow that up. I'm going to go to my manage And I'm just going to see maybe if the half toning is the culprit. I'm not seeing any of those ceilings. Doing a, for some reason this mouse, when I do a middle mouse wheel and push down, it goes into the all my open screens rather than a pan.
Yeah, that's a mount. It's probably the side button of the mouse.
Oh, okay.
Or, yeah, a function of the mouse.
Oh well, that's okay. Okay, let's pull our section in and see maybe if we can see those ceilings. Forgive me, I'll be jumping around on the video because I'm having to do zoom region and all this. So what do we have? Tap through. They're gyp ceilings. Oh, great, thank you. Yeah, great. Yeah. So they're gyp ceilings. Maybe we're not seeing any patterning. Okay. Well, we'll go find a one with a grid.
There's one in the lobby.
One in the lobby? Elevator lobbies or?
Sorry, over here. This should be a grid ceiling. That should be, there should be a floating grid ceiling here. It doesn't go to the wall. It floats in the center. This room has a grid ceiling. So, yeah. This is,
And that's the outline of it. Okay. Oh, and there it is. Okay. I just typed wireframe to see through. There's something in the way of us seeing that. I'm not sure.
oh yeah.
Oh, right. I found our 4x4 ACT. Very strange.
Did you change where you cut through?
I did not. I just inherited the architect's RCP.
So I don't
Then-
see things like the doors and
Right. And I would say the same, that it's not quite what you would want to see in a typical RCP, of course. So let's do a bit more digging. That's really what it comes down to, is that maybe we have not found the right view. Let's go back to VG. Revit links. Display settings. Let's change it back to being by linked view. Let's say that we trust them that they have the correct view set up for this somewhere. And let's try one of these other east or west. One thing that we're going to do today too is how you set up scope boxes for a large project. Let's try reflected ceiling plan level 1, east or west, either one. So maybe if we have a little bit better luck there. Still not seeing doors like we should. So we still don't have the right view to reference. And ultimately, this is the digging you'll need to do. It may require a phone call saying, look, which RCP plan view can we rely on to start working in? That's not the right one.
So do we we get all their views? When we link it, we get all their views that
Exactly.
they have set up.
Correct. So as long as their views are set up properly, you shouldn't have any trouble just inheriting their view, working right in that. Well, displaying their model in the way that they're seeing it. It's just like Michael was saying yesterday. We want an RCP as they're seeing it. We just want to start working in an RCP, right? So that really is what it comes down to. Undoing a few times here. And their RCP here maybe has a different cut plane, but let's do a few setups on the other floors and not get too caught up on level 1 alone. Let's do level 2. Jump up there and see what we can find. Again, we're going to go into VG. Let's do Revit links. We'll make it by linked view, and we'll do reflected ceiling plan level 2. What do we have here? Immediately, my first instinct would be to go in and do some spot elevations. Go find what we're looking at. Relative current level. Is level 2 a mezzanine level or something that's very tall? In spot elevations?
In the lower, in this corner, yes. In the rest of the building, no.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's why these are high. Maybe level 3 is a better example? Just for a standard regular floor plate?
Yeah, there won't be, since we don't have the tenant interior file linked in, there won't be any, except for the bathrooms and stuff, there shouldn't be any other ceilings.
Any other things? Okay. Well, let's link that other file then in too at the same time. Maybe that will help us see it. So let's, that's a good point. You always have to check and see, maybe I don't have all of the contributing files. That's one of the other issues, is that you may not have structure, you may not have all the same files that the architect is looking at. Make sure you check on that. Let's link that in just to check. We're going to go, do we have it available?
Yeah, but actually I wonder if it's the shell, I bet the file that we're using right now for just this is, there's the 225B arc shell -4.
Okay.
So,
What?
Great.
the second one.
Yeah, the second one's done.
Peter, is there a way to default that positioning?
No, you have to do it every time. Let's see if the shared coordinates does
So-
work on this one.
Yeah, question. Maybe you just asked this, but let's focus for a second. Did you just ask if you didn't import the first one by shared coordinates? What happens?
I was just wondering if you could default so that it always just
Oh.
that.
Yeah,
So what
I
if
wish
we
you
didn't
could.
do the first one? Can we do the
Yeah.
second one? It will line up, or
It's
no?
fine, yeah. We can do it.
And can you change what coordinates it
So-
relies on after you've already imported it?
You can.
Okay.
Yes. You can. Actually, we'll go through that process. We'll unpin the other one just in case it needs to move. But already, you just see they're behaving a bit better. I mean, obviously we're not getting all of the data, but I think the model's a little bit faster. That all being said, you're going to get some really difficult models, and the courthouse is no exception.
Yeah, because I didn't import the coordinates correctly and my two models don't match
Okay.
up.
I have a suspicion that's what mine will be, but I'm sure.
Yeah, this will be a good exercise.
Maybe they-
Okay. Yeah, I mean that laundry list of missing models when you open, or you import rather. There's a lot of different missing pieces, and you just need to be conscious of that. Okay.
Yeah, they're off by a smidgen.
Off by a smidgen. Okay.
Technical term for that.
Okay. So 2 ways that you can handle this. If it's very obvious, you can move them manually, but like we said yesterday, rule of thumb is make sure that the shared coordinates are set up in the architecture file so that they insert properly. Okay? What we do is let's select our first model that we brought in.
I don't even know.
And I'm thinking that is the...
That's the new one. It's not, it doesn't have the pin showed up in the
Exactly right. Yeah.
Because,
Exactly right. Okay. So the one that is pinned, that original Arch CS RVT, notice when you click on it in the properties, what comes up? Being not shared or shared. It's a shared, let's click shared. Okay? This dialog box, basically it's saying, okay, I can either take my current coordinate system of my project and publish it to that file, or I can acquire the coordinate system from that linked file. You always want to acquire it, okay? So hit acquire the coordinate shared coordinate system of 225 Arch CS RVT and hit reconcile. Now we select the other file. And shared site. We'll click that. We need to move that instance. Other process, this is why the architect needs to do it. They would need to open the file and publish those coordinates to that file. Let's just, for the sake of this, move it manually. Not the right thing to do.
What did you click in this? Off.
In the...
Move instance to?
I actually exited out of that dialog box. Yeah. It would ultimately need to be set up by them. Once they're in the right place, and you say, okay, record position. Once it's properly placed, the architect will do this. You don't have to worry about it. Record current position of that file. We'll hit OK. Then they are forever linked together as those locations. Our origins are the same. You won't have to worry about this ever again. It is funny though, I mean this is one of the inherent things that we see a lot of firms plowing forward with Revit, but they're not getting things like this right. And
is this them or is this us? For instance, I didn't the first time choose by shared coordinates.
Because they don't have it going. They didn't have the system of shared
I
coordinates.
did and it said
And you're still
nothing
didn't
there,
have
we're going to default to auto center
Okay.
center.
That's correct.
So
that? Okay, I just forgot to do it altogether.
Yeah, and so it should be standard practice. They all should be doing it. So notice now though that when I click on one of the links, what I get, this shared site, it's internal. So it's not that this project is defining the coordinates, but there is an internal system of common origin, common coordinate system for these two models as they're brought in. So now you know that they lay in the same place. And once you know that, you can also pin that other project in place.
one view is a pinned in all views.
Pinned in all views. Yeah. Yeah, it's let's just call it like a global pinning. Yes, it will do it for all. Let me go down to level 1 and see if anything is acting a little bit better. It's not carrying any of the other architectural information. So, any other of the models that it could be coming in with? Is there?
It's part of the ceiling's part of the CFs.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking at the architectural one, trying to match it.
Let's go to VG. It has to be a VG issue. If the model data is there, it has to be a.
Well, the only other
thing.
in the architect's model, their view range is different. So the top is at the associated level at 16 feet, and their view depth is also the associated level at 16 feet. When I made that change, it didn't make any difference.
Yeah.
I mean, which is, it's still, I mean, looks the same even with my view percent to that. So,
It's very strange. Are you thinking that it's not actually inheriting the same view?
it doesn't, what I've seen, it doesn't inherit the view range. It takes the same properties of visibility graphics, but I haven't seen it take the view range with it.
It's odd. It's going to take the work sets that are on, and this is a good question. It's going to take the work sets that are on, and it's also going to any kind of graphic overrides that are on, which sometimes if you have to go navigate a model that has lots of work sets, that really is a big help. But a cut plane and view range is specific to every view in Revit. Each and every one is different. So this is a good point. If we're having trouble seeing it, you occasionally need to go in and open up their view. But that's interesting. I would have thought that it is definitely taking their cut as well. So here we are in a ceiling plan. Went to apply default view template. Okay. If we go into our own view range controls, right? Part of the issue is that it's set to unlimited. So we see an awful lot above and below. That's the first thing that you would want to change for a ceiling plan. I'm seeing a few of their doors. Go to your view range in your properties. Hit edit. I'm in level 1, by the way. Okay. Change your primary range in the top to be level above. And view depth level above to be also 2. Keep the cut plane at 7.6. Hit OK.
I just don't have any doors.
It's funny, I'm here at the entry, I guess this primary entry, I'm actually picking up the...
and I don't see that software either.
I have the ACT, yeah, I have the ACT ceiling showing up now. So go to your view range quickly. Edit. Right. Oh, hit OK. It's do VG and set the linked view back to being shown as the host view. So VG, Revit links, I changed it back to host view quickly just to test this.
Yes.
Could we not be seeing any
I saw in Seer.
Does it matter that our discipline is mechanical?
It does. I just changed architectural and I'm seeing ceilings.
Yeah.
I mean, we default as electrical. I feel like you should still see it in electrical.
You still should.
You don't though.
Yeah,
Goes
the
away.
first key is set. to
Oh yeah,
mechanical.
when you change to architectural.
Oh, yeah.
I think that I've typically done in coordination also.
Ah,
Yeah,
there
the
it is.
coordination shows underneath it.
Yeah.
Coordination will show you everything. Yeah, it's particularly strange that you don't see those things for electrical because obviously everyone. Thanks for picking up on that because that's something I didn't realize was in there. That one thing that we'll need to do is apply view template for a ceiling plan.
Well, it's in electrical too. It's just not in. We were in mechanical.
See, I was
I
in
was in
electrical.
I had electrical.
I was in
Yeah,
mechanical,
no, so-
but it shows up in electrical for me.
What you do is you have to go to your R pull down options and change your default templating to electrical. There's no way to change the default discipline though, always to architectural. Okay, see, so I grabbed
Where?
all of these ceiling plans at one time, and I'm going to apply a view template. This ceiling plan, changing that discipline to architectural. And one quick time saver that you can do too is this apply automatically to new views of the same type. This checkbox. After that, you're good. There we go. Thank you for pointing that out. That is something that is a little bit of an annoyance with MEP, is that you have these disciplines. Yes, you're defaulting to electrical, but then this sub-discipline, or I guess it is the sub-discipline. No, in this case, it is the actual disciplines guiding some of the graphics, and there's no way to control those otherwise. But there you are. So from all, I guess if you were just doing this, make sure that your ceiling plan template, view template, is set up properly. Let me just run through that one more time. Right click on a ceiling plan. You'll want to make sure that you have it set to architectural for discipline.
Right click on the ceiling plan?
Right click on a ceiling plan,
Yep.
and then you hit apply view template.
But do I have to create a view template?
No, there already is one in there. Ceiling plan. Scroll down to your discipline, change that to architectural. I have not included any of the VG overrides in that template control. Only because, remember, if we have our linked models coming in and we're having the models display how the architect has them.
So you uncheck.
I unchecked those, exactly.
Just the VG over.
Just the VG overrides. Now I'm doing discipline architectural.
But so view range wouldn't make sense to try and standardize that here.
No, because each view is different. Each view has its own view range.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
always set it to like level above.
Well, it's interesting. I'm saying that you can come here and you can do some minimal things. You're exactly right. Level above, and then always have the cut plane at 7.6. That's correct. You can do that here. And I guess for a variety of levels, that's why there's not a lot of specificity there. But you're exactly right. You can at least do that to some of them.
And this view template, is this something that we should or can set up universally? Or is this something that... So I guess this view template is part of the HLB template.
Part of the HLB template. And actually, we'll make sure that we update the template so that every time you make a new ceiling plan, that discipline's set to architectural. Okay, so there we are. We're seeing all of our doors. Perfect.
But then applying that to another level, it doesn't seem to take the changes.
Okay, so if we go up to level 2, right click, apply view template, ceiling plan. Is there a fit out plan maybe that we're missing?
Yes, there is.
Okay.
Yes.
And that time it did.
Okay, good. So it did. And Michael, did you see how you can batch apply?
No.
From the project browser, you select one of those ceiling plans and you use Control or Shift. You right click and you apply view template all in one shot.
Level 4, the bathroom is the ceiling shows. Well, one of the bathrooms is the ceiling shows.
Yeah, there's multiple walls on top of other walls, so
Yeah, I don't. Yeah. I don't think
let's.
the 2 core shell files exactly match up.
Okay. Okay, well, I think we're in relatively good shape. Okay, so next thing you'd want to do is cartooning out your views. You know, we were talking last night at dinner about, okay, do we have, or maybe it was a little bit before, saying, do we have one person who goes in and sets all of these up, or does it need to be someone who's a little more intimately involved with the project? Well, first of all, you want to test how big of a view can you get onto a sheet. I guess your general output, say if you're doing a layout, are you sending 24 by 36 prints, or what is normally your output to someone?
I think it depends on the project.
Okay.
You know, typically we don't like to go, well, at least in our office, we don't like to go larger than 1/8" scale. So
Okay.
whatever paper size we need to fit.
Okay. So it can be, you'll do a 36 by 48 if you have to.
Right.
Okay, got it. Well, let's see if this fits on a 24 by 36 sheet. I noticed that the architect it definitely won't. I noticed the architect had split it up into two different sides, and maybe that fits. What, do you remember what sheet size you had?
I think they're 36 by 48.
Okay, so they're big sheets. Let's take let's just stay here in level 2. We're going to do something called a scope box. Okay? And a scope box really is exactly what it says. It is a bounding element that is nice, so you can use it from floor to floor to floor, that says, okay, I am going to only show what's in this relative scope. It's nice because for a large project, you can break up a project into smaller pieces. So off of your view tab, we'll go to scope box, and it's like drawing a rectangle, upper left to lower right, and we'll overlap somewhere here in the middle. We'll do 2 of these. One scope box. You can name it while you're working on it. In this case, I'm going to call this West. We'll do another scope box that will be East with slight overlap. Okay. To get these 2 plans separated out, remember the parent view and child view concept I was talking about yesterday? Right click on level 2, and we're going to hit duplicate view and duplicate as dependent. Duplicate as dependent. Depending on level 2, I'm going to rename that immediately. East. And I'm going to duplicate as dependent again. I'm going to make a West. The east and the west, always battling. Who's better, right? When you're in the view, remember when you haven't selected anything in a view, the properties bar shows the properties of that view. It shows the scale, it shows the shading, it shows all of those types of things. It also, if you go down, it allows you to control what scope box is determining the its definition. I'm in the east view. I'm going to apply the east scope box to the east view. So I'll do that through west one time. Hold on. Go to the west view. I'm in the child. I'm in the dependent view. I'm in west, and in the, sorry, I'm looking at this kind of obliquely. Scope box. There's a drop-down menu. When you've made scope boxes, it starts to make them available then to you from there. And we're going to make this west. Okay, so let's go see how this fits on a sheet. Oh, hit escape. Oh, your scope box are doing each half. You're in west. Oh, you have to hit escape. You can't be touching anything. Then you hit scope box, and it's currently defaults to none. Have we found that? Defaults to none. Found it? Yep. Okay, let's go try to fit this onto sheets, and we'll see what happens. As we're in this effort of a little bit of output and documentation and understanding how large the building is, let's open up a documentation sheet, this LT101. There's a 24 by 36 sheet. So to place a view on a sheet, it's as simple as just dragging it on. So you select the view, left click, hold it down, and you drag it onto the sheet. Let's go to try. I'm going to try all of level 2. And we'll see how that fits. Level 2. ZE, resume extents. It does not fit, obviously. So there are a few different things that we can do. You can change the scale or change the sheet size. Let's try to change our sheet size. Okay, the largest sheet that I have for HLB currently in the project is a 24 by 36.
Yes.
We'll get some other sizes, of course, for you. Yep. So you'll need, of course, larger sheets. But let's load default title block out of Revit. It won't be HLB specific. We'll go to Insert.
So we can't scale this one, for instance?
You could, but if yeah, you can actually select the view, and you can change the scale right here. You know, if we change it to 16th, it'll have it. Maybe then it fits. But then obviously you probably aren't doing your, it definitely fits, but then you aren't doing your, you aren't doing your, you know, you won't be able to do most of your lighting work there.
And it changes it both here as well as in the...
Correct, and the dependent views. Yeah.
I guess my question was, you can't change the scale of the sheet. You can't make the sheet bigger.
Oh.
I can't scale the sheet.
No, you can't. No, because it's a family.
Right, okay.
Yeah. That's right. So it also changed the scales of the dependent views, for better or worse. I think oftentimes what we see firms doing is we say, okay, sometimes we want to see the whole plan, right? And then we want to see the smaller pieces. I would say that it actually would make more sense to duplicate level 2. Just watch this for a moment. I'm going to call the level 2 with the duplicates. Level 2. I actually name a lot of my views this way. If I have dependents, I actually name it as such because level 2 dependence never gets put on a sheet. Only east and west is ever put on a sheet. Level 2, that is duplicated, will now become our official level 2. If you want to remove a view from a sheet, just click on it, hit delete. You have not heard anything by doing that. I'm going to drag level 2 on. There's our LT101. We're seeing the whole floor plate, which is good.
Because you skipped it.
Because I scaled the plan down, that's right. Our level 2 dependence view, let's change that back to being 8th.
When you duplicated that, did you duplicate it as dependent?
I know, I just duplicated level 2 just straight. Yeah, there you go. And so that, the dependence, here's the end goal. Doesn't quite still fit. Doesn't quite still fit, unfortunately.
Title block question.
Yep.
The little notches around the title block
Yeah.
are intended for a
Are they depth
viewport.
points?
Yeah, they were intended for a viewport.
Okay.
So is there a way to have them on there without them printing? Or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, they can be an invisible line.
Do we need that? Well, other things are going on at the moment, so that's.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that that's something that we would need? I mean, at least these,
No.
maybe the outside boundaries, because it's helpful to maybe see the left side, but I don't think that they're as important in this, because we're not scaling,
Yeah.
we're not, filling a box.
I would agree. It's not as critical. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, it's probably not as critical. The goal here being still not fitting, but as a project manager going through, you already start to realize, okay, we're gonna have to start using larger sheets. The challenges of how large the building is to fit it on paper is ultimately the thing that I think that you would learn through this process of cartooning. We won't go down into great detail here, but on the right I have my sheet that shows the overall floor plan, and on the left I have that dependent view. I have one of the halves on another sheet. You create a new sheet by right-clicking on sheets in the project browser, and fly out new sheet. And as you can see, all of the title blocks that are loaded in there currently are shown as being available. If you don't see your title block that you're looking for here, there's a load button. You can do it right here. And we actually are going to go load a generic Revit title block. Hit load. We'll browse down to title blocks. And the largest they have a 34 by 44, which I've never used. Let's just do a 30 by 42. In your case, for HLB, you'll have all of your title blocks already in here. You won't have to worry about this. Yeah, they'll be there. Hit OK. Now, if you want to go change the other title blocks that are actually already in the project, simply go back to those sheet views, and in the properties, fly down, you can change the title block size. Now, nice thing about Revit is that it prints to the title block's extents. It always will print to the title block's extent. So even if the title block is off-centered and changed from maybe other views, it has different origins from other views, it will always go print to that title block extent, which is very helpful. So here we are on a 30 by 42, and it's just fitting. A little bit of cropping down and it will work. Okay. So there we go. Is that a common workflow for you, where you show an overall floor? You probably aren't showing overall floor plates as much, but if you're working at 1/8, you always will have to break the building down into smaller views, correct? How were you doing that previously? In AutoCAD, you were just making viewports, right, off of a floor plan. Yeah. Here, you're going to use these scope boxes to help you do that. Thing is, you have to know how large is it going to be at 1/8. If 1/8 is your terminant scale, I would say that that being your goal, you figure out whatever you can fit on a sheet at 1/8 is really the big thing that you need to do first.
And does it print the box around?
It does
your
not.
building?
It does not. That is called the crop region. Crop region is visible by default in every view. Now, you can also work within the viewport. If I click on a sheet, or a viewport on a sheet, right click, I can hit activate view. Do this sparingly, because notice how it doesn't gray out too much, but when you've activated that view and you're working in it, it keeps you in it, even if you close the project and all those things. So I've had people calling me in a state of panic. They're saying, I can't touch my title block. I can't get out of this sheet. And I say, oh yeah, it's because you need to make sure that you deactivate view. But when you're in this viewport, you can work in the model just as you would anywhere else. The crop region at the bottom of every view, they all have it. Crop region visibility, you can turn it off if it bugs you to see the crop region. When you're done, right click, hit deactivate view. The nice thing is you can also do you can also change that crop region visibility without having to go in. Select the viewport in a sheet, and really close to the bottom of the properties, there's a checkbox for crop region visibility. You can just uncheck that, and it should go away. And there it does. Okay, does HLB have a splashy cover title block? I mean, I know you're not doing a lot of printed output, but where you have like a fixture legend or anything like that? Nothing like that.
For drawings, no, we have a presentation sheet, but it's
Okay.
images. I mean,
Okay.
it's project imagery.
Okay, got it. So that's not as common. Are you ever doing general notes or anything like that?
I could
In our
see us
future
doing that.
schedule?
But I mean, I think I've seen some of our designers who are more detail oriented doing elevations, details, and things where some of the notes are as simple as, you know, electrical information to be found on, you know, electrical information.
Oh, I see.
Things like that. So I
yeah,
don't think it'd
details
be,
and elevations or notes, but we don't.
Okay.
Just on
Okay.
our regular
yeah, but
ones.
not on regular drawings because we don't issue drawings outside of really DD. We might have to just because of the deadline, but otherwise it's incorporated into electrical and architectural. So
Of course. Okay. Great.
yeah.
Great. Okay. That somewhat simplifies things, and that you're not having to. You don't need some of the same documentation tools, which is good. Let's hang on level 2 here because I think we're actually making some good progress on it. We're going to do a few different things. I've had a request for making your own ceilings. How do you change the grid? How do you change the grid sizes? Just in case you have to do it, or you may run into an architect that doesn't know how to necessarily change it. So we'll do those things. Can we take a 5-minute break?
Yeah, I think that's good. It looks like, I mean, actually looking at our agenda, would this kind of bring us to the end of yesterday?
It
Is that what
does.
it looks like?
It does. I have 2 more things. You know what, before we do a 5-minute break, let me just do 2 more quick things. We'll shoot for 10.
Okay.
The only reason I'd like to do some call-outs, because call-outs, and you do elevations, correct? You're doing interior elevations and things sometimes. Let's do those things, because in the spirit of cartooning, and if you're going to create a series of views before the work even starts.
Is cartooning putting things on sheets? Why is it called
Yeah, I
cartooning?
guess, I don't know, maybe I'm using an old term,
No,
back from the hand days.
no, I mean, I just got a matrix. It's a cartooning matrix that lists all the sheets and stuff. So
I think
it's still
it's
being used.
Okay, good.
I've never heard the term before, so.
It's a common one. Just I think it comes from the hand days when you sit there and you have to really worry about how long. Architectural budgets are often set up by how long it would take you to draw something. So it was actually by sheet. A lot of times they'd say, that elevation sheet's going to take, 100 hours total. Yeah.
I would not be employed.
I know,
If
right?
it required hand drafting, I would not be a HLB employee. It's just, yeah. Anyways.
Let's go to level 2. And my apologies. This whole time I could have been facing the other direction sometimes too, and I've been always going one way. I guess it's not so good for the camera.
Yeah, probably.
Let's say that we are going to do an enlarged lobby plan. For whatever reason, 8th does not work. Okay? Or maybe a bathroom, since we have all the coves in and everything. Off of your view tab,
Are you in a sheet or?
I'm in back in a view. Back in a view. Okay. So you do something called a call out, and this is if you ever want to enlarge a certain area. Call out, It's like drawing a rectangle as well. Left click to drop it down.